Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion and I'm your independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Gastonia, North Carolina. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by today and do a little crafting with me. I am going to show you the host code for the month of January. This will be listed in the description box below as well as my blog, and there will be a link in the description below that will take you over to my blog. So you can find everything there that you need to know. The catalog, the new mini catalog for the spring will also be out there on my blog, as well as the celebration catalog. And if you scroll back, you will also see the annual catalog is posted over there. So go take a look at the catalogs. If you don't have a physical catalog, if you've ordered from me in the last year, you would have received a free catalog in the mailings that go out. So anyway, enough of that being said, I wanted to kind of zero in on another bundle today, and I have this bundle called Handsomely Suited, and the dies are titled Suit and Tie Dies, and this stamp set and die set can work independently from each other, or they can work together beautifully. But I'm going to show you today exactly what you can do with just the dies with no stamping whatsoever. I played a little bit with this yesterday, and I did get glue on this when I was gluing it down, so I'm going to do a little different when I do this today. Sorry, excuse me. But this makes such a cute masculine card. We all struggle with making cards that are masculine, and this particular set makes cards like this so easy. And I want to show you on this page right here, and this is on page 66 of the new mini catalog. Look at these beautiful different things that you can do. Now, I did not purchase this paper, but it is definitely going to be on my next shopping item, because you get the pinstripe, you get plaids, you get the checks. Look at these diagonal stripes that would make a beautiful ties. I mean, this stamp set and die set has it all. But I'm going to show you today with just some solid cardstock and some simple supplies, how easily you can make this, just the die set, work for you. So I probably will use the stamp set for just the sentiment, because I love the way this stamped out and how cute it looks. But we're going to go ahead and let me put my catalog up, and I am going to pull out some pieces. Now, I went ahead of time. I decided this one I wanted it to be a gray suit, so I went ahead. This is the lapel for your jacket, and I think that is so pretty. This is actually going to be the cutout for your jacket, and all these pieces are in your die set, and I think it just works beautifully together. I do want to find a piece of cardstock, colored cardstock, that's going to work for our tie. And I'm using some of these background pieces, the back side of some of this Christmas paper. This is just a great way to use up your Christmas paper by turning it over from the Christmas side, which this actually doesn't look that Christmassy. You could get away with this for any time of the year. But this side right here has just a very faint stripe in it, and I think this would be beautiful on a tie, especially if we cut the tie on the diagonal. So I am going to pull this off. I'd already cut this piece. I wanted to try to get a few pieces of this cut so my video wouldn't go quite so long. My videos have been a little bit lengthy, the last couple, but they were very in-depth cards, and I also shared some tricks and tips and things like that for y'all, so that was the reason they ran a little bit longer than I would like them to. But this cuts this piece out. Now if it doesn't cut all the way up to the top, just take your paper snips and just snip it. Just like that. Now this piece you can save because we can use that for something else. I'm just going to lay my paper snips right there because we might be using them again. And I'm going to take this die set out of the packaging because we're going to be using quite a few pieces of this. I can't wait to try the suspenders. I think they are just adorable. Such a versatile die set that you will be able to get so much use out of. Look at this pocket. You can put a pocket on a shirt. So cute. Okay. Here is our collar for our jacket. So we're going to also need to do this. And this scrap piece right here will get that. Now that's going to be, no, that's going to be the collar for our shirt. So I've got a piece of white over here for that. And again, we're going to do the same thing with our shirt. What we want to do is measure about a 3-inch piece. So let me pull my trimmer out. I'm going to lay this piece right here, and you can see how layering that on there, it makes it look like your lapel. Isn't that so stinking cute? But we're going to do some other little things to this before we actually put it together. I just got some ideas, and hopefully they'll work. Alright, I'm going to cut this piece down to 3 inches. And I just want this to fit in the opening of our little jacket. So we're going to pull this over. And this is actually going to go under here, just like that. We are going to need to cut off just a tiny bit. So let's take off about a 1/2 inch. I think a 1/2 inch will be perfect. So about a 1/2 inch. I should have measured that while I had it up here, but I didn't. So let's go ahead and measure this against it again and make sure. You want this white piece to come up to the very top of your card. So when you put it on, you want it to look something like that. And then we're going to cut this piece out of white. Let's see if this is big enough to get it. If it is, we'll use this piece. And yep, it will be just about the right size. So I'm just going to come over here to my die machine, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And you got to be careful with this piece because it is just barely in there. It's connected by just a hair, and I mean literally a hair. So it's very easy for this to break. So you really need to handle this with kid glove. But it's going to go right up in here, and you want to make sure those flat pieces are to the top because they are going to butt up against the top of your piece of cardstock, just like that. And then you have your lapel that's going to come over top, just like that. And we're going to need a strip to go down the front, and I had cut one, but I used it on the card. That's this piece right here. And no, we're not going to need that because we're going to use the tie. The tie will cover that up. So I had cut a tie out of the gray, and I actually used the stamp set, and I stamped that. I think I'm going to like the multicolored tie better because it's not going to look quite as monotone. So I am going to use this piece, and I'm trying to decide if I want to do it at an angle or if I want it straight up and down. And I think I want it straight up and down. I didn't think that until I actually laid it down against the paper. I'm going to use a couple of my little post-it flags just to tape this down, just like so. And then we need this little piece that's going to go over top of our tie, And we are going to put that, what if we do that at an angle? Yeah, let's do this one at the angle. I think that'll be cute. And I need another Post-it note. And what did I do with them? I got some of the larger ones right here. Alright, I'm going to run this through my die. Let's see what we got. Alright, there's that little piece. And I'm going to turn that over. Let's tear these off. I'm going to lay this one back over here so we don't lose it. Sometimes those little pieces, it's so important to put those back on your magnetic sheet because they can be a little bit of a pain because you can drop them on the floor, and believe me, the little tiny stamp sets and the little tiny dies I have lost and never found. They have to be in my craft room unless they got picked up by the vacuum, and that's definitely a possibility. I'm going to lay this back here. Trying to keep all my pieces on here. Alright, so now we have, let's put this back over here. And we have our tie. And what you're going to do with the tie, you're going to want to take a little dimensional and you're going to pop that up so it will actually look like the knot on the tie. Let me zoom y'all in just a little bit more. So let me turn that over, and I'm going to use a dimensional, and I think we can get away with one of the big ones. Yep, that fits on there perfect. And now I'm just going to pop this on top of that, getting it nice and straight and even. And see how that gives the tie some dimension. So it actually looks like it's been knotted, and that's the knot up there, which I think is ingenious. Like I said, Stampin' Up thinks of everything. So I'm going to take a rule out of my own book, and because I've got glue on that other card that I made, this one here, and this wasn't even a card, this was just the mat, because all of this will go down on a card base. But I got glue on that, see right there, and it even though it dries clear, it left a bit of a sheen there that I didn't like. So I am going to, yeah, this is the right side. So I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and glue these pieces together, but I'm going to go ahead and glue this down first. We need to slide this into here so we make sure that we're getting it on exactly where it needs to go. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a tape runner on that first using my Stampin' Seal. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack a little bit right here on the sides. Move our tie over. And I just want enough of adhesive to stick this so it will stay in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this like this, and I want to even it up. And I can see that I'm getting it more even by looking through it like that. And then I'm just going to press that down. And then when you turn it over, you have that perfectly centered where it needs to be. And see, when this is put down, you just want it to center right in between here and here. And I do want dimensions on this, so I am going to turn it over. Let's get this off of here. And let's put a dimension right here. And I think we can get one more right here. This is going to give us a nice little lift that's just going to make it look like the collar has some dimension to it, so it doesn't look flat. The last thing you want is for your shirt and tie to look like it's, you know, very flat. I'm going to hold my finger right there in the middle as I pull these off. That will save it from getting, hopefully from getting torn apart. And I'm going to do the same thing again. And that worked. Now we are going to line this up. Oh, come on, don't stick. If we can get a hold of it on the edges, that will work much, much better. Now you want to make sure that it's nice and even, and I've got it a little crooked. I'm going to turn this upside down. I think it'll be a little easier for me to get it on there like that. Yeah, much easier. Because you just want to make sure that it's falling right in the middle. And yeah, that looks so much better. Isn't that looks really nice. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing with our lapel. And we want the lapel to come right up to the top, just like that. And this is actually our back side, so I think I'm going to use the mini dimensionals on it. They're not quite as thick, and they give you a little bit less dimension than the big ones. So I'm going to use those for this. And I'm just going to strategically, oops, I don't want that one there, too close to the edge. You want to make sure that your dimensions don't show. So I'm just going to go down like that. And just continue to put them on all the way down the side. And this is another piece you have to be careful because you don't want that point right there to break. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to kind of hold it here just to give myself some leverage. If these are in the light, you can literally see that they're a bit shiny, and that's how you can tell. So I'm going to start here at my point, and I'm just going to lay this down very carefully, getting that lined up all the way up like that. And I can see a little bit of that one right there, so I'm just going to use my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to push it underneath there a little bit so that it's not sticking out there. And for that bottom, I'm going to use a glue dot. And I'm going to just slide a glue dot right there and stick that down in it. Alright, our little shirt and tie is coming together, and it is looking really super good. Look at that. Oh yeah. I'm loving this. I was going to do some dimension on this. I was thinking about even possibly running this through the die machine, but you know what, I got so excited with making it that I forgot, and that's okay. We are going to make this work. So I'm going to put some dimensions on this tie as well, and I think what I want to do, I want to put one right here because I'm thinking I need one to catch that tie right there at the top. And then we're going to put, you're probably thinking this is a lot of dimensions on this card, and it is, but you have to remember that we are dealing with a piece of clothing that does have a lot of dimension to it. So just remember, when you're doing something like this, you want everything to look as realistic as you can, and if that means using some dimensions, you know, by all means. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here where I put that glue dot down, or that dimensional, and I'm going to put that necktie right there into that dimensional. And now I'm going to take my tie and I'm going to slide it, if I can get it to slide. I'm going to get it to go in to here, just like that. And see, with that added dimension, it looks a lot more realistic. At least I think it does. And don't worry about this little gap right here, because we're going to put a sentiment there that will cover that. Now I'm going to put this on a piece of cherry cobbler, because I think this is more of a cherry cobbler than it is a red. So let me pull my cherry cobbler out and we'll look at that and see. Yeah, that's definitely more cherry cobbler. So I'm going to make a card base out of it. And we might even want to do a mat of white. Let's see, this is how I like to lay my cards out, to see exactly what I'm wanting. And yes, I think that will bring out all the colors that we're using there. So let's cut this down into a card. So I'm going to cut this at 5.5. I'm going to turn it and score it at 4 1/4. Let's get the cut blade out of our way. And then we're going to fold this. And let's see, I think this is already cut. Let's see. I think this needs to go to 4. Five 1/4. And you know what? I'm going to have to cut this down 1/8 and 1/8 and 1/4. That's okay. We can do that. We definitely got room to cut this down. So let's put this on here. Let me get my bone folder, because we need to give this a nice even burnish so that it will lay nice and flat. And my Bella is snoring again. Bella, Bella. She's sleeping good, baby girl. She was sleeping really good. She's a mess. Alright, let's put this up here, and we're just going to take 1/8. And I'm going to do 1/4 off of the bottom. And we're going to do 1/8 off of this side. And now this is going to fit perfectly. By taking it off evenly all the way around, we did not compromise anything on our card. So anytime you have to cut a piece down like that, just make sure you take it off evenly all the way around. So this, will go on like that, and then this will go on here like this. Isn't that gorgeous? I am loving this. I think it's I think it adds so much to it just to see how this has come together, how well this works. And don't you love the way I raised that up and you can actually see the little bit of a shadow around that, which makes it look much more realistic than flat. I did this one flat and look at the difference. I think the dimension added so much to that. Now I am going to use this new punch that we have, and this is called the double oval. And I'm going to cut this piece out of the material that we made the tie with. And I'm going to turn this over because I want to make sure that I'm getting just what I need and no more. I think right there is good. And punch. And then we're going to do the same thing with a piece of white. And I know I got a scrap of white. At least I thought I did. Maybe not. So let's take this piece. And we're going to slide this in. Tell you what, let's cut this down because I don't want to use the entire piece. So I'm just going to cut about like that. I am all about saving cardstock and not using up any more than you need to, because we all know that our crafting supplies are expensive, and we want to get the most bang for our buck. Do I want to stamp that first? I think I do. And this is where I'm using the stamp set. This is the only thing I'm using out of the stamp set, and that's the happy birthday to you. And I'm going to do this in black. We could do it in the cherry cobbler, but I think it's going to give it a lot more elegance if we just do this in black. So let's get this covered and then get this into our punch. And then see how you can just hold this and get it exactly where you want it. And then punch it. Love, love, love this punch. So versatile. And such a great one for our sentiments. So let's bring this over. And I think what I want to do is I want to put, trying to decide if I want this on, I do. I want to pop that up. So let's use, I have a few leftover little ditties here. And I'm going to use these on here. As you can see, I don't waste anything. And then we're just going to pick these off. Sometimes these little pieces don't wrangle as good as the other ones, but you know what? It's okay because we're using up what we would normally throw in the trash, and I always say that's a good thing. Very nice. Now we are going to put this right about here, and what I'm going to need is a dimensional over here and some glue on that side. So I am going to actually opt for a regular dimensional. And I think I might do 2. Yep, that'll work. And then we're just going to use some of our liquid glue right here. Been having issues with my glue lately. Yep. Definitely issues. That's an issue right there. I'm going to tear off my extra little bit off of my glue dots, and I'm going to rake a little bit of this glue off, and I'm just going to take it over and rake it in the trash can. And I just left a little bit like that on there. Now let's take these off. And then let's just glue this right about here. Oh, so cute. Alright, so now we're ready to put this together, and I think for this I am going to do it in with just some liquid glue. I'm going to be really careful with this and hopefully not get, yeah, we got it running now, so it's working. And I'm just going to put a generous amount. And then I'm going to bring this over and get a nice little even border all the way around. Just like that. Oh, so nice. That looks so pretty. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to use some liquid glue. And let's bring this to here. And just press that down. Now we need a piece of white cardstock to go on the inside. Don't y'all love that? Isn't that pretty? Wow. And I mean, we use nothing but the dies, a punch, and that 1 sentiment. And you could very easily substitute this for a die that you might have, or an oval punch that you might have. So this is just, I mean, this is just darling. I love it. I am going to go ahead and cut me a piece. I need to clean my stamp, but let's go ahead and finish up this card first. So I'm going to cut this at 4. By 5 1/4. And I think once we do this, we'll have this card ready. I do want to find a sentiment that I want to use, and let's look back at that stamp set and see what else it says. It really doesn't have anything other than the one that I used on the front, so I'm going to look for a stamp set that I want to say something inside. I'm going to go with this one that says I made you a card because you're worth it. And then I'm going to do another happy birthday. I think that's a good one to use. So how about this one? We'll put that in just like that. And let me grab a stamp block. And I'm going to make sure I get this nice and even before I pick it up. That looks good. And I'm going to do this in black as well. And we are going to stamp it. And then that's ready to go in. And I'm going to use some of my Stampin' Seal for this. And then we'll put this in just like so. And there is a beautiful masculine birthday card that we all have difficulties. Let me see if I can straighten up my camera just a little bit. I'm going to have to get my husband in here to straighten my camera again. He's good at it, and I'm horrible. Maybe that's a little bit better. Let me zoom y'all in so you can get a closer look. Oops, a little too much. There we go. I hope y'all enjoyed the process of watching me put this card together. It was so much fun, and I think this one turned out so much better than the one that I did the goof on yesterday. As you can see, it definitely does not look as nice as this one. That's why we always have to take the time to play with our stamp sets and our dies before we actually bring something together. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting my channel and supporting my business. If you would like to purchase any of the products you saw me use here today, like this beautiful die set and stamp set, any of the cardstocks, everything will be in the description below, along with link to my blog, and you can find everything there that you need along with the host code. So remember to use that host code if you spend $50 or more, and if you happen to spend $75 or more, you will go into the drawing that will be drawn the last day of this month, which will be on a Monday, the 31st, for this free stamp set and die set. It'll be totally a free set. Let me zoom y'all back out. Oops, wrong way. This is it, and it is so much happy. The die set is awesome. I have mine over here that's already out and shows. So here is what the dies look like. But this is a brand new stamp set and a brand new die set. So it will be drawn. Anyone for the month of January that makes a purchase of $75 or more in my online store, not only will you be in a drawing for this, you will earn free celebration products out of our celebration catalog. You will get a free gift from me for spending $50 or more for the by using the host code, and the host code will also assure that you get into the drawing for this stamp set, but your order has to be $75 for it, and only $50 for the free gift. So there you go. That is all that I have for you today. God bless and keep you. We are kind of under a winter storm advisory today with the possibility of sleet and snow and freezing rain, all that fun stuff coming in later on. So I plan on snuggling up in the house today and just enjoying time with my husband and celebrating his birthday. So God bless and keep you always. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring honor to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy of our praise, our honor, and our life. Be kind to someone today. Let someone know you care. And until we craft again, God bless and keep you. I love you all. Bye-bye.